I've had lots of conversations on this podcast about health, about diet, about all of these things. But for many of you, this one will be the one that changes your life.
Today, most people listening to us are going to die from cardiovascular disease, from cancer, dementia or other neurodegenerative diseases, complications of diabetes. And on the one hand, that's a sign of progress. It means like, hey, we're living long enough to die from those things. But we've made scant progress against those things. In fact, if you go back and strip out the top 8 causes of infectious death or communicable death, death from communicable diseases or infectious diseases, today, if you strip them out, our life expectancy is not much better than it was in the 1800s.
This is one of the things in your book that really, really got me thinking was, I have to say, and I believe a lot of people probably feel the same way, I've gone through my life thinking, to some degree, I'll worry about avoiding these diseases later. I'll when I get to 45, then I'll start taking this thing seriously. Because then I'm getting into that territory where most people I know that get cancer or Alzheimer's or all of these cardiovascular things, that's when it tends to happen. So I'll think about it then.
Totally understandable. And I'll frame this in the context of a question I get asked all the time, which is, hey, Peter, when is the best time to start thinking about this stuff? And I say, look, I can't answer that because there are 2 competing issues that are crossing. When I meet somebody who's in the last decade of their life, do you know how much they are thinking about this? Like, it's all they're thinking about. It's all they're thinking about. Every minute of every day is a confrontation with their own mortality. The problem is they don't have much time to change the direction of the ship. You may recall in the book, I use the metaphor of the Titanic, right? It's not that the Titanic didn't see the iceberg. It's that it didn't see the iceberg in time. It didn't have enough runway to really move out of the way, and that's why the Titanic gashed the side of the boat. Now, at the other end of the spectrum, a 30-year-old like you has unbelievable potential to change the arc of your life. You have so much runway through manipulating nutrition and exercise and sleep and stress and all of these things, to completely alter the disease trajectory of your life. The problem is, and I'm not just speaking to you personally, but more broadly to someone who's as young as you, it's harder to find the motivation because there are no reminders of your own mortality. You're Superman, right? The worst thing that happens to you is a hangover. So VO2 max is the best tool we have to measure peak cardiorespiratory fitness. So this is a test that you actually have to take. It's done on a treadmill or on a bike. They put a mask on your face, and then the mask measures how much oxygen you use. So in the book, I talk in great detail about this test. It's something anybody can do. It costs probably 100 quid. It's not like super expensive. And everybody should know their VO2 max. I really think everybody should know it. And in the book, I even offer some ways that you can estimate it just by running at a track or something like that.
Is taking more oxygen from the air that I breathe a sign of good health?
Yes. It means it speaks to how fast and hard your heart can pump, and how good your muscles are at utilizing oxygen. It is the most important metric we have for peak cardiorespiratory fitness.
What are the things that stand in the way of good VO2 max?
What's limiting you is clearly not the amount of oxygen in the air, and it's actually not the ability of your lungs to get oxygen into your blood. You're limited by how hard and fast your heart can pump that blood through your body and how efficient your muscles are at taking the oxygen out and using it. And the difference between, so again, a 30-year-old who's in the top 2.5% of their age group might be at 56, 57. But to put that in context, the guy who wins the Tour de France this year is 85.
Wow.
And by the way, when that number reaches 20, or certainly 18, 19, you have a hard time just getting around. Like you wouldn't be able to walk up a flight of stairs.
I'm going to say 1.5 hazard ratio.
It's 5.
5. So
which means 400% difference in all-cause mortality.
If you
when
have
you
a good
compare the fittest 2.5% to the least fit 25%.
Wow, so it makes a huge difference.
So this is why I can say with absolute certainty, nothing compares to exercise. Nothing compares to having a high VO2 max, high muscle mass, and high muscle strength. They are more beneficial for you than any bad thing you can think of is bad for you.